Saving the planet isn't anything new. Some of you may remember, long before our activist leader Greta was born, a wise woodsy owl once told us, "Give a hoot, don't pollute." Woodsy Owl was created back in the 70s, around the time the Clean Water Act promised every American drinkable, swimmable, fishable water within 10 years. Today, almost half a century later, more than half our rivers are unsafe for recreation. Two-thirds of our coastal shorelines are impaired, and tens of millions of Americans lack safe water to drink. So why is our planet still so polluted after all these years? Because it's a really complicated problem. There are many potential contamination sources, pathways, and receptors to consider and evaluate. The good news is, with each decade, we've improved environmental protections. But even though we've come a long way since Woodsy the Owl, I think we all know we still have a long way to go. So how do we continue to improve? According to the American Bar Association, what we must do to provide a healthier and cleaner environment for all Americans is inspect, report, enforce, and invest in achieving compliance with our environmental laws. Unfortunately, scarce regulatory resources have proven to be a challenge in the US and abroad, so enforcement is rarely a primary driver these days. However, there are other powerful drivers, such as property transactions, mergers and acquisitions, insurance coverage and claims, and financing, which often require environmental due diligence to assess and mitigate risk prior to the business transaction. So what is an environmental site assessment? ESAs are performed by environmental professionals to identify and mitigate environmental liabilities by understanding a site's past, present, and future. One type of ESA, called a Phase 1, must follow the industry standard to meet requirements for protections under the Superfund Act. About 250,000 ESAs like Phase 1s are performed in the US every year, and even more are performed by businesses and regulators for routine inspections. I'm Jen Whaler, environmental scientist and founder of Industria. I've been a consultant for the past 15 years, working closely with attorneys, businesses, and stakeholders to evaluate and mitigate risk. During my time in consulting, I've seen little advances in the way we perform our work, despite technological advances. And this point became especially annoying to me as I watched my husband Ken and his colleagues develop and implement business intelligence platforms, and I thought, why aren't we doing this for the environment? You see, as a consultant, I've assessed contamination at hundreds of sites that could have been avoided if better decisions were made or properly communicated. And through this experience, I've realized something that may come as a surprise. Most polluters don't want to pollute. Polluters are humans who swim and fish the same waters and breathe the same air we all do. And oftentimes, they don't realize the environmental impacts of their operations as they manufacture and distribute the goods we as consumers demand. Don't believe me? Take Bill, for example. He started a family-run industrial business back in the 80s. A couple decades later, his successful business outgrew their space, so he looked for a larger property and did his due diligence. He thought he did everything right. He hired a consultant to do an ESA to assess risk before purchasing the property. Unfortunately, that consultant overlooked historical stormwater discharges to the adjacent waterway, which is now a major cleanup site. That human error ended up costing Bill hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees for natural resource damages and millions of dollars in upgrades to the site's stormwater management system to achieve compliance. So you see, Bill didn't want to pollute, but he found himself labeled as a responsible party for the sediment cleanup, and his business took a painful hit to their bottom line. So how could an error as big as Bill's have occurred? The primary reason is that the process of performing ESAs is antiquated, generally involving an assessor taking notes on paper, photo documenting observations, reviewing records from many different data sources, and having internal and external communications via phone, email, and Word docs. You see, the process of performing high quality environmental site assessments is time consuming and generally not very profitable for consultants. And when things are rushed or assessors are inexperienced, environmental conditions can be overlooked. So, after much time searching for an off the shelf solution that didn't exist to help improve the ESA process, we created Industria to help environmental professionals harness innovative technologies to collect data efficiently, make connections meaningfully, and protect the environment diligently. Industria's environmental intelligence platform uses public and private data to empower businesses to develop a culture of continued learning and improvement for a better world. Not only will our tools help environmental professionals perform their work better, they will also help businesses prioritize risk so they can allocate resources and avoid costly enforcement action. Our platform has been designed since day one with the security of our customers' data in mind. However, our customers can opt in to add their anonymized information to our publicly available database to invest in our communities and future generations. Here's how it works. First, a project manager, like a consultant, attorney, or environmental manager, sets up a project using Industria's PM dashboard, where they can check conflicts, upload supporting documents, and review site history. Then, assessment data can be collected, uploaded, and shared publicly or privately using our secure system. Next, the project manager can track progress, review data and trends, and keep stakeholders informed. Using advanced analytics and AI, our insights help users predict and prioritize risk and develop data-driven control measures unlike anything else on the market today. Finally, clients can easily access their executive dashboard where they can view reports, review significant findings, and get alerts for upcoming deadlines and action items like permit renewals and monitoring. Our target market, environmental professional services, is a $30 billion market in the US with a projected growth of 6% and includes approximately 8,000 consulting and engineering firms who work closely with attorneys and industry. It is expected that the need for environmental assessments will only continue to grow as climate change becomes a greater threat and drives industry to adopt more sustainable practices. We can also expect an increase in commercial real estate transactions as businesses move their operations away from coastal areas that are vulnerable to damage from sea level rise and extreme weather events. At Industria, we're designing tools to get ahead of the wave so environmental service providers can keep up with the increased demand for high quality ESAs and help their clients make data-driven decisions. If you want to learn more about how Industria can help your environmental team, please contact us at industria.io via email at info@industria.io or at our Twitter handle, industria_io. Thanks so much for your time.